The journey began where the tarmac ended. We left Juba, the capital of South Sudan, and soon the city's chaotic energy faded away behind us. The smooth road turned into a bumpy, dusty track. It snaked through a landscape that felt incredibly old and vast. Acacia trees dotted the flat, sun-baked earth. The air that rushed through the open windows of our 4x4 was thick with the smell of dust and dry grass. It felt like we were not just traveling across land, but also traveling back in time, leaving the familiar world of schedules, screens, and constant noise far behind. It was a journey into a different way of being. With every kilometer, the signs of modern life disappeared. There were no more power lines, no advertisements, and no concrete buildings. Instead, we passed small villages made of mud and thatch. People waved as we drove by, their faces curious. The land itself dictated the pace of our travel. We were guided not by maps on a phone, but by the position of the sun and the knowledge of our local guide. This was a place where nature was still in charge, where human life had to adapt to the rhythm of the seasons, the rain, and the heat. The feeling was one of profound liberation, a shedding of layers I didn't even know I was carrying. The anticipation built as we got closer to our destination. Our guide told us stories about the Mundari people, a tribe whose existence is completely intertwined with their cattle. He explained that we were heading not to a village, but to a cattle camp, a temporary home that moves with the herds. This nomadic lifestyle is ancient, a tradition passed down through countless generations. I tried to imagine what it would be like, living a life so connected to animals and the land. It was a concept so different from my own life, where everything is neatly separated and organized. Here, life was a single, flowing whole. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the savanna, we knew we were getting close. The air grew heavier, and a low, continuous sound started to reach us across the plains. It was a deep, rumbling hum, the sound of hundreds of cattle. The landscape became greener, a sign that we were approaching the banks of the mighty River Nile, the lifeblood of this region. My heart was pounding with a mix of excitement and nervousness. I was about to step into a world that few outsiders ever get to see, a world that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. The first sight of the Mundari cattle camp was simply breathtaking. As we crested a small rise, a vast, smoky plain opened up before us. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, of magnificent Ankole Watusi cattle were spread out as far as the eye could see. Their horns, some stretching over 2 meters wide, created a forest of ivory against the setting sun. The air was thick with a haze of smoke from dozens of small fires, lit to keep insects away from the precious animals. The light was golden and magical, filtering through the smoke and dust, turning the entire scene into something from a dream. It was a powerful, almost biblical sight that stopped me in my tracks. The smell was the next thing that hit me, and it was completely overwhelming. It was an earthy, primal cocktail of scents that I will never forget. The dominant aroma was the pungent smell of burning cow dung, the fuel for the fires. Mixed with this was the sweet, grassy scent of the cattle themselves, the sharp tang of their urine, and the smell of wood smoke and dust. It was not an unpleasant smell, but it was incredibly strong and all-encompassing. It was the smell of life, raw and unfiltered. It clung to my clothes, my skin, and my hair, instantly marking me as a visitor in this unique and powerful place. Then there were the sounds. The camp was alive with a constant symphony of noise. The low, deep mooing of the cattle provided a constant bass note. This was layered with the gentle ringing of cowbells, the shouting and calling of the herdsmen as they guided their animals, and the happy cries of children playing among the giant beasts. There was no sound of engines, no ringtones, no televisions. Every sound was organic, a part of the living, breathing ecosystem of the camp. It was a soundscape that spoke of a deep and harmonious connection between the people, their animals, and their environment. As I stood there, taking it all in, a group of young Mundari men walked past. They were tall and lean, their bodies dusted with the same ash that they used on their cattle. They moved with a grace and confidence that was captivating to watch. They carried spears and walked among the huge horned animals with no fear, only a calm familiarity. They were a part of this scene, not just observers of it. My own presence felt clumsy and out of place in comparison. I was a stranger here, an outsider looking in on a world that was complete and self-contained, a world that did not need me or anything I represented. I quickly learned that to understand the Mundari, you must first understand their cattle. These are not just animals, they are family, they are currency, and they are a source of immense spiritual significance. Each cow is known by name and has its own distinct personality. The herdsman can spend hours just watching their cattle, admiring their beauty and strength. A man's wealth and status in the community are measured not by money, but by the number and quality of the cattle he owns. They are the center of the Mundari universe, and everything in their lives revolves around the well-being of their herd. The bond between the Mundari and their cattle is visible in every aspect of their daily routine. In the morning, the men massage their animals, their hands moving gently over the powerful muscles. They use the ash from the dung fires to coat the skin of both themselves and their cattle, creating a protective layer against insects and the harsh sun. This ash gives the Mundari their distinctive ghostly grey appearance. They even clean their teeth with cattle urine, which they believe has antiseptic properties. It is a relationship of complete intimacy and dependence, a true symbiosis where man and beast live as one. Cattle are the foundation of the Mundari economy and social structure. They are used to pay the dowry for a bride, a practice which ensures that wealth is distributed and alliances are formed between families. A man cannot marry without cattle. They are also a source of food, but they are rarely killed for their meat. Instead, the Mundari survive on the milk, which they drink directly from the udder or collect in gourds. Sometimes, they will carefully make a small nick in the cow's jugular vein to draw blood, which is then mixed with the milk. This provides vital nutrients without harming the animal. This deep connection is what has allowed the Mundari to survive for so long in this often harsh environment. Their cattle are perfectly adapted to the land, and the people have adapted to live in perfect harmony with their cattle. It is a way of life that has been tested and refined over centuries. Watching a young boy gently talk to a calf, or a grown man sing a song to his favorite bull, I realized that this was more than just farming. It was a profound spiritual partnership, a sacred contract between a people and the animals that give them everything they need to live. Life in the Mundari camp is a lesson in simplicity. There are no permanent structures, no walls, and no doors. The only possessions people have are the ones they can carry with them: a sleeping mat, a gourd for drinking, a spear, and perhaps a small wooden headrest. There is no concept of privacy as I know it. Everyone sleeps out in the open, under a vast, star-filled sky. Life is lived completely in the public eye, a communal existence where everything is shared. This radical openness was both beautiful and, at first, a little confronting for someone used to the closed-off spaces of the modern world. The camp operates on a rhythm dictated by the sun and the needs of the cattle, not by clocks or schedules. The day begins before sunrise, when the air is cool and the animals begin to stir. People wake up, tend to the fires, and prepare for the day ahead. There are no jobs in the traditional sense, only tasks that need to be done for the survival of the community. The men and older boys take the cattle out to graze, while the women and younger children might go to collect water or forage for food. It is a life of constant, purposeful activity. There are none of the comforts that we take for granted. There is no electricity, no running water, no internet, and no supermarkets. Food is what you can get from your animals or from the land. Water is fetched from the river, the same river where people and animals bathe. It is a life that is completely off the grid, self-sufficient and independent. This lack of material possessions seems to create a different kind of wealth. People have time for each other. They sit and talk for hours. They have a deep connection to their community and their environment that we in the West seem to have lost. This stripped bare existence can be incredibly challenging. Life is precarious. A disease could wipe out a herd, or a drought could dry up the grazing lands. There is a constant vulnerability to the forces of nature, yet there is also an incredible resilience and strength. By having so little, the Mundari seem to have gained so much. Their focus is on what is truly essential: family, community, and their sacred cattle. It made me question my own life and the countless things I thought I needed to be happy. Here, happiness seemed to come from a much deeper and more sustainable source. Trying to fit into the daily routine of the Mundari was a humbling experience. My first challenge was bathing. In the camp, everyone bathes together in the River Nile, often surrounded by the cattle who also come to drink and cool off. There are no private stalls or curtains, just the open riverbank. At first, I felt incredibly self-conscious, a clumsy outsider in a scene of natural, uninhibited life. But the Mundari people were so relaxed and unconcerned that their attitude was infectious. I soon realized that my own sense of modesty was a cultural habit, not a universal truth. Standing in the cool water of the Nile, with the sun on my skin, I felt a sense of freedom and connection. Sleeping was another adventure. My bed was a thin mat laid directly on the dusty ground, with the stars as my ceiling. The camp never truly sleeps. All through the night, there is a constant soundtrack of life. The soft munching of the cattle, the crackle of the dung fires that glowed like embers all around us, and the distant calls of nocturnal animals. At first, it was hard to relax. Every little sound made me jump. But as the nights went on, I grew accustomed to the noises. They became a comforting lullaby, a reminder that I was part of this living, breathing community, safe among the people and their animals. Mealtimes were simple and communal. The staple food is a thick porridge made from sorghum, often eaten with milk. There are no plates or cutlery. You simply take a handful from a shared bowl. The taste was plain, but it was nourishing and filling. Sharing food in this way creates a powerful sense of community. I was a guest, but they treated me like one of their own, ensuring I had my share. These simple meals, eaten sitting on the ground surrounded by new friends, were some of the most memorable I have ever had. It was a lesson in how food is not just about sustenance, but also about sharing and connection. I tried to make myself useful, though my skills were limited. I helped to gather firewood and tried to learn how to mix the dung to keep the fires going. The children in particular were curious and unafraid. They would follow me around, laughing at my clumsy attempts to copy their daily chores. They showed me how to play their games and taught me a few words in their language. Through these small interactions, I began to feel less like an observer and more like a participant. I was slowly being woven into the fabric of daily life in the camp, one shared smile and one simple task at a time. The nights in the Mundari camp were a time for reflection. As I lay on my mat, looking up at a sky overflowing with stars, free from the light pollution of the modern world, I felt a profound sense of peace. The challenges of this life are undeniable. It is a hard, physically demanding existence, with little comfort and constant uncertainty. A simple infection could be fatal, and a dry season could bring hunger. Yet, despite the hardships, there is an incredible richness and authenticity to the Mundari way of life. It is honest and true, lived with a dignity and grace that is deeply moving. I learned that happiness is not connected to material wealth. The Mundari have almost no possessions, but they have strong families, a vibrant community, and a deep sense of purpose. Their lives are built on relationships, with each other, with their animals, and with the land. This creates a powerful sense of belonging and security that no amount of money can buy. It was a powerful reminder that our relentless pursuit of more in the developed world might actually be making us poorer in the things that truly matter. The Mundari have a different kind of wealth, a spiritual and social richness that we have largely forgotten. This experience fundamentally changed my perspective on culture and what it means to be developed. We often see cultures like the Mundari as primitive or behind, in need of our help and our way of life. But living with them, I realized how arrogant that view is. Their culture is perfectly adapted to their environment, a sophisticated and sustainable system that has worked for centuries. They have a deep wisdom about the natural world that we have lost. They are not a problem to be solved. They are a living library of human knowledge and resilience that we should admire and respect. Leaving the camp was difficult. As we drove away and the sounds and smells of the cattle and fires faded behind us, I felt a real sense of loss. The journey back to the world of tarmac, electricity, and internet felt like a journey into a stranger, more complicated world. The dust of the Mundari camp has long since been washed from my clothes, but the experience is etched into my soul. It taught me about the beauty of simplicity, the strength of community, and the deep sacred bond that can exist between humans and the natural world. It was a journey into the heart of South Sudan, but it was also a journey into the heart of what it means to be human.